Hey, Downtown Brown is going on tour starting June 15th, 2022. We're doing 10 days on the East Coast. Some of the dates are with HR of Bad Brains. And one of the dates is at Skatopia with Pears. Check it out, dtbmusic.com for tickets, yo!
It's me. Hey, me, it's me again. Hello, me.
Okay, cool. We're like at a pretty comparable level. Let me move over.
Gives me a migraine headache.
That's a good day. That's a good Dave Mustaine. All right, let me do the intro real quick.
All right.
Okay, I am here with my friend, Mr. Ryan Curtis, a.k.a. the Blue Bassist, who is a human being that I've known for quite many years, and I consider this human being a friend. And we've been talking about doing this SUPcast, which instead of the interview format, I think we're gonna try this thing, if it's okay with you, Ryan, and just have a conversation, talk about life. So,
all right,
are you down with that?
I'm down with that.
Okay, cool.
I put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
I am gonna ask you questions about stuff because you have stuff going on, but I want this to be somewhat of a palate cleanser from what I've been doing lately, which is a lot of like, tell me about this, and just letting people talk for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do some of that. Tell the internet world who you are and what you do, just to start this shit off.
So what I do right now is not what I've done. I don't know, man. So I'm Ryan Curtis, used to be Ryan Schrem. And I am a musician and voice actor and web programmer and promoter. And am I missing anything?
That's many hats.
Yes.
Bassist.
I think that's all the things.
A music that falls under musician bassist, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, that works.
I would think so.
That's an umbrella, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm sure that there are probably bassist jokes to be had in that, whether bass is categorized a bassist is categorized as a musician or not. But
you're a musician, dude.
Yes, I am.
That's how we met. We met in Madison, Wisconsin, and I forget what the year was, but
that was 2011.
Wow, that was over a decade ago.
Yeah, dude.
We're old.
Because my band Sparklefuck had only played 2 shows at that point, I think. One was a birthday, and one was with friend's band. And I saw Downtown Brown coming through town. And I was like, I've heard that name before. We have friends in common, I'm pretty sure. And so I reached out to you. If I remember right, I reached out directly to you because I did not have a relationship with the venue yet. And
was that Frequency in Madison?
Yeah, that was at the Frequency.
That place was cool.
That was an awesome place. I miss that place.
It was tiny. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put 40 people in the room.
Show was you guys, us, and Fan Off Bird Safe, I think was the name of the band. They were from like northern Wisconsin, maybe. I remember their drummer had a giant kit.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. We always we always laugh when there's a drummer that has like double kick, like 2 actual kick drums, and one of those big racks, because I don't know, it's just a little excessive, but you know,
like small club stage, and you've got a fucking drum rack that stretches the width of the stage.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but also the more I think about it, in my old age, I don't really give a fuck what people do anymore. I'm at the point where I kind of stopped caring about a lot of stuff. Like, if you want to bring a full stack to a 100-cap venue, bring it. I don't fucking care. I mean, I remember I was in Augusta, Georgia one time, and I saw Jucifer, and they do the whole wall of amp thing. And this was one of those, like, what do you call it? Like a sidecar venues where it's just pretty much a long hallway. And
oh, sure.
Yeah, and so there were like booths where the band was facing, and there's maybe about 5 to 10 feet between the end of the stage and the wall. So they had this, but they still did it. They still did the wall of amps, and they're just like, okay, whoever's sitting at the center booth is gonna get their face blown the fuck off. And
right.
And, that was just their thing. They did their thing. So do your thing. If it's having a giant drum set and you're a local band, whatever. I'm too tired to care.
There's that, and it's like, okay, if you have the energy to do that, then that's all you, man. Like, I would not be able to. Like, right now I'm looking at I want to get more serious bass setup, because right now I just have a combo amp that I've been using.
Yeah.
And so coming up in the punk scene and stuff, I have been conditioned as a bass player to see the fucking Ampeg fridge as the end all be all of the bassist repertoire, right?
Yeah, the 8x10, right?
Yes.
The 8x10, the fridge.
Yeah.
Wolf used to have one of those.
And I don't think I want that.
No.
Now that I'm like approaching 40, what I'm looking at is like dark glass or orange, where the head is like this big, and then maybe a 410 cab or something like that.
Yeah. Dude, I used to go around with a 4x12 Mesa, like a bit, like it was almost a fridge, and
yeah,
that thing, I have back problems. I was in physical therapy today and talked to a chiropractor, and they're like, we need more imaging because we need to figure out what's wrong with you so we could try to get you to have less pain. And that being said, for the longest time, I'm just like, a 2x12, you wimp. But then I saw Rocky George. Who played in Fishbone for a really long time and was also in Suicidal Tendencies, and he was playing out of a 212, and it sounded loud as fuck. And I'm like, if Rocky George only needs two 12-inch speakers, then I'm gonna do the same thing. So I've been doing that, and then I went ampless. But there's unless you have a pretty expensive setup or you're playing through really nice PAs, it's hard to get that real amp sound. I came
So you
close.
went the modeler route.
Yeah, I have a modeler, but right now the modeler and a power amp is my backup, because the Marshall, 25 years later is still kicking, and it's like, okay, this thing sounds fucking great, but if it breaks down, I got like a clean power amp, and I got this modeler. So
yeah, I've heard good things about modelers. Like my friend Sarah Longfield, she's my worst gear. Like, I make the worst mistake in messaging her, hey, I'm thinking about getting X, as like a please talk me out of buying this thing. And so previously it's been like, she's super into modular synth, and so I'll see a module and be like, hey, I'm thinking about getting this, but it's like $600, and she'll be like, oh dude, get it. So I was looking at modelers. Like, I've never used a modeler before, and I was looking at the Line 6 Helix, and I said, I'm thinking about getting a Line 6. She goes, oh, do it, dude, you absolutely need to have it. I'm like, But now I don't know if I want to go that route, because it seems it's something that is confusing to me, right? Like, I'm so used to having a sound presence on stage. Like, I'm not going to fully rely on or shell out additional money for IEMs, for in-ears, to hear myself on stage, or rely on the fucking monitors being my only source of my audio on stage.
It's terrifying. Yeah. And I don't generally play on stages that are even capable of that. So even with my modeler rig, I essentially am still going to be carrying around the 2x12 and just putting the modeler into a clean power amp.
Right.
Yeah, because I can't rely on some punk, on like, 110-inch punk venue wedge to bring me all my vocals and guitar at the same time, because it's just gonna be a fucking mess. So essentially what the 212 becomes at that point is, instead of a cabinet, it becomes just like a monitor on wheels. So yeah. We're getting nerdy right from the jump. now you joined a band recently over the last couple of years, and talk about that because I have questions about this musical group.
So I joined a band called the Minibosses, which is a band that I've been a huge fan of for 20 plus years. Like I've been listening to them since probably 2003, 2004, something like that. And so it was, obviously inside me is nerding out like, holy shit, like every time. But yeah, we play video game covers. It's, I guess, kind of technically considered prog metal but we're just basically doing straight up covers and arrangements of old school retro NES game soundtracks. In either like a medley or on their own, or we just have our own little arrangements of them that are distorted and fun.
I'm pretty sure that I have a mix that my friend made me in like 2005 that has Minibosses all over it, and they do a Contra medley.
Yep.
But it's like 5 different levels of Contra, and but I wish I could like play it. I'm wondering if it's Minibosses. Here.
I mean, I can tell you that you won't get hit with a copyright if it is us.
Let me bring it up real quick because I had this dude that I used to play music with that was like the Minibosses. It was a name that you heard before I even heard what is the band that toured with Psycho Stick, that Power Glove.
Oh, Power Glove. Yeah.
There are a bunch of bands that do video game covers, but I remember distinctly hearing Minibosses, the name, being spoken by human beings like as far back as like 2004, 2005.
Yeah. As best as I can tell, we were the first. And when I say the first, I mean like the first, like not even necessarily video game cover band, but kind of video game centric band. Mm-hmm. And it's close, actually. I had this conversation with Kevin from Tubbring, Kevin Gibson, a few months back, because he and Rob do Super 8-Bit Brothers, and they started in 99 and we started in 99, and it's like a matter of months that separates us as to which of us was first.
And it seems like they do like a lot of original music, but in that kind of 8-bit motif. Right.
Yeah.
And whereas Minibosses are just like doing a bunch of video game covers. Is that that's the difference, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Here,
listen to this and let me know. Oh, I just had it fucking synced up. I just fucked it up. One sec. I'm gonna edit this. We're rolling, but I'll make it real tight. I'll make it real tight now. Is this Minibosses? No. Is this Minibosses?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This is the medley.
Yeah, 100% that's us.
Okay. That being said, I've been listening to that recording of the Contra theme since 17 years. So,
yeah. I don't know that song yet. I don't think that song has been pulled out in quite some time. And nowadays we're playing things a lot faster than that. But yeah,
because the actual tempo of the Contra theme is
right.
It's a little more sped up, but
now,
there's a groove. There's probably a different drummer on that recording, right?
Oh yeah. Right now, the only member that is in the band who was in the band back then is the only remaining founding member is Aaron, our guitarist. It's his band, and so we all kind of just rotate in and out as he wants us to. I'm not the only bass player in Minibosses. There are, others who will play gigs as, on bass, and others who play gigs on guitar and drums and stuff like that. Like, there's some shows coming up out in California at a couple of breweries, and at least one of them, the drummer from a band out there, some friends of ours, Super Madness, Nico, is going to fill in on drums. And so, yeah, it's just kind of, whoever Aaron wants to play with at any given point in time, it's like, oh, hey, you want to play this gig coming up? All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I run into that too, because there's gigs out in California where we're getting paid $0, and I have guys out in California that know the downtown Brown stuff that will do it, and then I don't have to pay, whatever plane tickets from Michigan to California are these days. Is
right.
Like, anywhere, depending on what airline you fly, anywhere between $350 to, man, some of these plane tickets are just fucking exorbitant these days. I don't know.
Have they gone back up?
I was looking forward to fly out this dude from the East Coast, and granted, he had to fly from like a no-name airport, and it's almost an $850 ticket. And
Goof.
Yeah, and I'm just like, eh. But then if he were to fly out from an actual major city airport, it would be $350. So,
yeah, I think the last time I flew was the middle of last year, and round trip from Phoenix to O'Hare was $50.
Phoenix, where did you do?
Oh no, it was less than that. I think I ended up spending like $25-$30, and then there was like tax on top.
Where's O'Hare?
Like Chicago.
Oh, Jesus, that's so cheap. How?
Right?
How?
Just using Google, looking it up and planning.
That's incredible. That's unheard of.
I mean, I flew cheap airlines, but who cares? Like, it was Frontier and Spirit, I think, or something like that. But whatever. Yeah,
amazingly, if you fly Spirit, you can fit a good amount of stuff in a backpack, and
yep.
Yeah, but if you exceed the backpack limit, you then have to pay $50 or whatever for a carry-on.
Every company that I've flown with has been super lenient about how bloated my backpack is, because I will not check a bag. I do not check bags. So I put everything in my backpack, and it's just like bursting at the seams, can't zip up, kind of shit. And it absolutely doesn't fit in that stupid, check your carry-on thing. And it certainly doesn't fit under the seat in front of me. But no one ever says shit.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Spirit has generally done me pretty well. Although there was that one time where we had a 24-hour layover in Vegas on our way to record the Masters album, and that wasn't fun. But luckily we stayed with Chicken, who you and I knew Chicken before we knew each other.
Yeah,
Chicken's cousin Hillary and Gina live out in Vegas, and we stayed with them and hung out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was fun. And then we recorded an album and spent a lot of money.
A really good album.
Oh, thanks.
I like Pills on that a lot. I love Ron's bass riff on Pills.
Yeah, he played that on Norwood's Fretless. And that was another great thing about having Norwood come to produce that record, is he just like he had all of his basses just sitting there. He's like, Ron, play my shit.
Awesome.
So yeah, Ron's playing on like a Warwick Fretless for that bass line. And
that's awesome. It sounds killer.
Yeah. I really like that tune too. But I'm back on the pills. I'm on them.
You and me both.
Yeah, bro. The pandemic did me dirty. I got really fucking depressed, and yeah, I got back on the pills, and then last summer when I moved back here, it felt like a warm hug. I moved back to Michigan, and I'm like, this is, shows came back. I'm just like, everything's on the up and up, and then I stopped taking the pills, and then all hell broke loose. Yeah, it was just, it's one of those things where the universe was sniffing around, and the universe is like, oh, things are going well for this guy. I gotta fuck it up somehow. And I don't have I have more tools now than I've ever had to deal with the depression and stuff, but sometimes like all the tools, all the exercise, all the good sleep, all the eating well, and I'm doing everything fucking right. It just, I need.
It's there's never going to be a silver bullet answer, but you, I know, started taking like the biggest, most important steps while you're still out in California, and I'm glad that you've kept it up because it's clear that it's helped your stability a lot. Like, you and I talk about personal shit all the fucking time, and it's been a relief for me to watch my friend get more comfortable in his own skin over time.
Yeah, I feel like that's accurate. Yeah, definitely. It was a hard go for a minute there. Good 15 years of thinking I knew what I wanted and thinking I knew what was healthy for me, and not having a lot of self-respect, letting people walk all over me, and then having my own dark demons with anger and resentment and stuff. It honestly, my dad dying was the, what's it called? When
catalyst.
Yeah, catalyst is a good word. Yeah, when my dad died, that's when everything became very clear. And when I started like immense therapy based around the death of my father, I'm like, oh, this explains so much. And what's so funny is, for the longest time, and I know so many people are like this, you go through life and you're like, you think you got it together, or you think you know who you are, or you think you understand why you tick like you talk, and then something fucking crazy happens, and then it just all becomes clear, and it's weird. And I needed help with that. I needed someone to guide me through the grief and the anger and the resentment and the hatred. It was like, God bless that woman, my therapist. If I didn't have her, and then there was still growth after that needed to happen. The pandemic needed to happen for me.
Yeah, right.
For me to realize more of my addictive tendencies had a lot to do with validation and trying to validate myself through outside sources and validate myself through the internet. And without the validation of live concerts, I then turned to needing to be validated by how many people were watching my streams, and just it. God. Yeah, but then I broke out. To break out of that was huge. I finally feel like I'm at a place where it's like, I don't need for people to tell me that I'm decent to know that I'm decent. And
yeah, I admittedly later than I would have liked kind of reached that same sort of conclusion. Being in a position where, and especially like if wanting that positive feedback from people you look up to or things like that, and just kind of realizing that even in that situation, it's like, don't like, I know, like I don't have a more succinct or eloquent way to really say that, but like, we're all human and we're all fallible, and like to rely on positive feedback from others, regardless of like how maybe like they've achieved something that you hope to achieve. And so like when you're working on that same line and you get that positive feedback from them, like it's like an injection straight into the veins, man. And you just need to reach a point where you recognize that the pace at which you are progressing is your pace, and it's not going to be their pace. You're not going to be the virtuoso over here. You're not going to be, this person or any people that you look up to who are working on the same kind of things that you admire. Your pace is your pace, and you need to be forgiving to yourself for not being on someone else's pace, not being on someone else's track. Like, you need to acknowledge the progress that you have made at your pace and not criticize yourself that it's not enough.
Yeah. And who told me recently that comparison is the thief of joy? Have you heard that?
I have not heard that before, but that's good.
Someone told me that, and I don't even know if I quoted it correctly, but I think Allie told it to me. But yeah, comparison is the thief of joy, and I've been thinking ever since I was a little kid. I was always like, "Oh, that kid, his parents bought him a guitar. Well, I got to get a guitar and be better. I got to be a better artist than this kid." I remember, like, I was always just like so competitive. And I wanted to be special so bad. And back to the whole dad thing. It all just boiled down to if he would have told me he was proud of me and told me he loved me growing up, I probably wouldn't have needed that so much. And what you were saying about trying to get it from people you admire, that shit feels great. Like,
yeah, it does.
It feels great. And I was in the van with like HR Bad Brains, and he said something nice to me, and I got it on video, and I put it in the press release and all that. And it feels great, but it's fleeting because it feels great for the moment. But and this is what my therapist always says, if you can't tell yourself this shit every day, if you can't tell yourself every day that you're good and that you're doing the best you can and that it doesn't matter what this person has or how good this person is because you're on your own path. And let's be fair here. I don't know about you, but I definitely laced my own path with a bunch of fucking barbed wire and explosives, and I did that. I don't want to be the type of person that's like, oh, well, it's all my dad's fault, or it's all my ex-girlfriend who did me dirty's fault. No, my dad didn't open my mouth and put all that booze in my gullet.
I like to call it a non-standard path.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily that I have littered the path ahead and behind me with landmines and barbed wire. It's that I looked at the path and went, what path? Fuck that. I'm just going to go off into the woods over here, and get lost and somehow eventually end at the other end of the path with poison ivy and fucking, thorns in me.
Missing a leg and, yeah, all types of scrapes and bruises.
But I got there.
Same.
And I'm getting there, I should say.
Same, dude. And it's really been hitting me lately because just the fact that, like you said, you're approaching 40. And I made a whole podcast about this when the dude from Black Dahlia Murder died because he was a local guy. And it's just, people are fucking dropping left and right. It's really intense. And I don't know if you are like, if you're experiencing the same thing that I'm experiencing, but the older I get, the more it's very apparent how mortal I am, and I think I need to really embrace and hold on to gratitude that I'm lucky to still be here, Yeah. Because you can go through your whole life beating yourself up about, I should have achieved this and I should have, and then what happens if you get hit by a bus? You spent your whole life beating yourself up because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And you beat yourself up to the point where you couldn't even enjoy the time where you were breathing air and where you were able to get up every morning and pet your cat or what the fuck ever,
Yeah. And that's such a fucking trap in that, for a long time, I would look at people who were doing something that I liked and what I had, maybe even spent just as long in my life working towards, and they make it at 21 and I'm 39 and there's no it took me a long time to realize that there's no age limit on succeeding at the things that you want to succeed at. There's no age limit on milestones. Just because I didn't get virtuoso status on bass by the time I was 21 doesn't mean that I should give up and just be well, whatever, I'm not going to be him.
I think the question you need to ask yourself is, at the end of the day, do I enjoy this? Is this fun? Because your mic got really hot.
Oh, sorry about that.
But it didn't like get hotter, it got gainier. Like,
that's weird.
Did you press any buttons or anything?
Nope.
Weird. Yeah, it just
is it still gainy?
Yeah, it's like really gainy. But
weird.
But the dBs aren't spiking. It's just went from, it was like really warm and now it's like kind of shrill.
You want me to do one of these? How's that?
Keep
Is that
talking.
getting better at all?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah, something happened. I don't know.
I just turned the gain down on the input.
Okay. Yeah. Here, talk a little more so I make sure you're at the right level.
Yo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo-yos.
You're like right there. It's just a little less intense. I don't know what happened.
Weird.
But okay, what were we saying though? That we were on to something good. Oh yeah. Is it? Yeah, and you got to ask yourself, is it fun? Like, is what I'm doing fun? And I think that's really what I've been trying to concentrate on lately, is because with all of these people dying around me, I'm like, okay. And I saw Mark Maron perform in L.A., and he's got this whole bit where he'll get invited to do some shit, and he'll be like, I'm not going to go. I don't know how much time I got left. And he's older than us. He's probably like older than us by like 20 plus years. You know, I don't know. What if we're 40, 50, 60?
I mean, he's probably in his like mid 50s.
Late 50s, early 60s, maybe. Probably late 50s. He's probably like Johnny Depp's age.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. But the whole bit, it resonated with me because it's like, okay, I don't need to say yes to everything, and I don't need to say yes to everybody if you know, I can determine that my time is worth something, whether or not I even want to go see a local show, you know, it's at the point where sometimes I get more enjoyment like hanging out with my girlfriend watching Stranger Things than I would if I like went to some concert I didn't really want to go to that much. And I know that sounds lame because everyone's like, support your local music and support this. It's like, dude, my whole life is at a fucking concert. Sometimes I just want to pet my cats and I want to watch Better Call Saul and that's it.
Yeah, dude. And same, like, you know, I was in Madison. I was the promoter who was always at the shows that he booked.
Yeah.
Right. And like that apparently set me apart because I would have, you know, people I booked be like, I really like that you're always at the shows, you know, that you're putting together. It's like, yeah. All right.
I'm going to go to every show.
That should be a normal thing, but all right, cool. And nowadays, like, man, I don't have the energy to go out like I used to. And back then I also didn't have a day job. So like now I've got the day job. I'm like being a weird, responsible adult in a lot of ways. Like I own a house, which I never thought was ever going to happen. Like it's just weird.
It's beautiful.
But it's also just like, I don't know if it's the day job or the fact that I'm getting older. I can't go out every night anymore. Like I went out to see Power Glove to, you know, say hi to, you know, everyone and hang out for a bit when they came through town. But that's pretty much it. Like I haven't been going to shows all that much.
Yeah, it's like what Marin said. I don't know how much time I got left, so I got to be, you know, and it's kind of, I don't know. I'm just picky. I'm picky and choosy, and you know, my girlfriend will be like, "Well, why don't we go out more?" And I'll explain to her, it's like, I've been going out for the last 15 years. I've been going out 150 days a year. It's like, you know, like my whole life is going out. I've played so many concerts. I've gone to so many shows, and I'm just, you know, I have tinnitus. My back hurts. I'm beat up, dude.
Yeah. Fortunately, my wife and I are on the same page when it comes to like, dude, let's just throw on a horror movie and veg out on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah, because Allie and I are running the candle business thing, and we spend our days like packaging and making these candles. You spend your day doing like the web programming thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we're busy.
Yep.
It's weird.
And the second that's done, I'm like, Okay, I need to lie down for a little bit.
The endless energy stream has ceased. I'm like hopelessly addicted to caffeine right now. That's my energy stream. I even woke up this morning and I couldn't, like, there's a drink called Celsius, which is supposed to be like the healthier energy drink.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they sell it at 7-Eleven and stuff. But my Celsius was, I opened it up and it had no food coloring in it and it had no taste. It was just like a seltzer water. And I took one sip of it and instead of, I threw it out. It was disgusting. And so instead of having no caffeine this morning, I had to immediately go to 7-Eleven and get another one because I can't function. Just can't. I'm hopelessly addicted to caffeine. And even after doing tons of research about how when you have a caffeine addiction, essentially your body is operating at lower than baseline energy levels. And when you drink the caffeine, it just brings you up to baseline. So essentially, if you didn't ever drink caffeine, you would be at the energy level that you're at when you drink caffeine. And maybe, you know, your heart would beat less and you'd sweat less. but I'm an addict, hopelessly addicted to caffeine. And that's about
I don't know what it is, man. Caffeine does literally nothing to me. I can, drink a Red Bull and then go to bed.
Yeah. Do you have like ADHD history? Yeah. Okay. My brother's the same way. My brother, he's never done it before, but let's say hypothetically in a video game, he did cocaine. It makes him very quiet. It would in a video game make him very quiet and soft spoken, actually.
Well, fuck, man, I don't have to cover my ass. I have done cocaine on 3 occasions, and each time it did nothing.
Yeah, there you go. In a video game.
It was really weird. It was just really weird, man. And I told my dad, I was like, I told my dad when I tried cocaine, and he goes, good, it just makes you want more cocaine.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
All right.
I've avoided it, which is crazy because when I tell people I've never done it, they're like, because people will come up to me after a Downtown Brown performance and they'll be like, dude, you're on coke, eh? And I'm just like, no, I've never done it.
Nope, that's just you.
I posted this video of me freaking out at a house show one time on my acoustic tour, and it got some engagement. Like, it hit the algorithm and people started commenting on it. And this one comment was hilarious. It's like, clearly this guy is having a manic episode and y'all are saying it's funny. And yeah. And the best part about it is, no, I was just performing. Like, there was no
comments trying to white knight you, man.
There was no mania. I'm not like, I'm not bipolar. I mean,
well, and I think a lot of people who only know you from performing will be surprised to know exactly how low energy you are the second you're not on a stage.
What are you trying to say, bro?
I'm saying that, like, you know how to perform, and that's exactly what it is. It's compartmentalization of energy. It's, like, what's going to get that audience engaged. And so you do that where that, needs to happen.
Yeah.
But the second that that's done, it's like, nah, there's no reason to do that anymore. Just fucking chill.
And that's what I would tell people about when I was drinking a lot. That guy on stage would follow me off stage because I was all, I had fucking 18 drinks in me, and I would just be as loud and ridiculous and as obnoxious as I was on stage with a microphone. And no one wants to hang out with that guy. No one wants to go into a Kroger with that guy. But when I was drinking, I was that guy. And
the only thing that people want to do with that guy is dare that guy to do dumb shit.
Oh, and yeah, I tell the story one time when we were with all the SMB guys and we were in Minnesota, and I was blacked out, and they're like, ha ha ha, Neil will do anything. Let's all piss in this Jack Daniels bottle. And let's tell him it's more Jack Daniels. And gave it to me, and I drank the whole thing, and they all just like laughed their asses off because they just all watched me drink their urine, essentially. Yeah,
isn't there video footage of that?
There might be footage of me on the toilet from that same night. That we put out a DVD in like 2005, which was we were trying to be like the Jackass of funk metal. and so our DVD was just a bunch of pranks, and like I was sleeping and someone put a scorpion on me, and I was sleeping, and they put some dip in my lip like while I was sleeping, and you watch me get all sweaty and start just like sweating a lot, and then they poured water on my crotch. It was just stupidity.
I shouldn't laugh because this is all actually like really terrible shit.
Well, yeah, and one of the dudes who I've mentioned in some TikToks, he thought it'd be really funny. He's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I like made out with the drummer while he was sleeping? Which we all thought was hilarious, but in the context of nowadays, if you forcibly make out with someone while they're passed out drunk, that's assault. So
right,
yeah. So there were lines being crossed, and all in the name of drunkenness and hilarity. We just were like, ha, 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 ha. As far as today's context is concerned of what's considered acceptable in society, there were people in my band that were treading a line. And let's just say I'm glad I'm not involved with those people and haven't been for a decade plus because I don't know. I didn't get into music to like play the who's the biggest idiot game,
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's worth putting in perspective. It's not just a change of times; it's also a change of age. Because like a lot of that stuff is taken and thought about differently at a younger age. I feel like when I was in my late teens and 20s, like I wasn't thinking about things that same way, right? Like the laugh was the laugh. Yeah. And that's all that really mattered. And you did anything for the laugh.
Yeah. And even if you're invading people's personal space, I remember the thing I like to do the most when I was drinking is I would put on the Burger King mask, and we were at Warped Tour, and kids would be like, we want to get a picture with the Burger King. And I was 240 pounds, maybe pushing 250. I was a big dude at the time. And these teenage children would surround me, and I would put my arms around them, and then I would drop my dead weight. I would drop my legs out from under me, and I would take out like 4 kids like bowling pins.
Jeez.
and then I would just kind of like writhe on the ground screaming, and they would all scream and run away. And I thought it was hilarious, but I don't know, bro.
I mean, it's pretty funny.
It's kind of funny, but also it's like, I don't know. Let's say one of those kids is had some sort of traumatic thing happen to them when they were younger, and it triggered them to feel like some really ill thing. I don't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah, and I guess in that context specifically, especially when you're talking about performing, to a bunch of people that you don't know, then yeah, maybe. But I feel like when it's playing pranks on a bunch of friends and you're in your, teens and 20s, everyone's in on the joke. Right. So if you're all in that same space, like everyone's in on the joke.
Yeah. And that's why it wasn't a big deal, because Don and Harry Bob and the unnamed human and myself, we all were pretty much just being as stupid as we possibly could and videotaping everything, because it was Viva La Bam. It was Andy Milonakis. It was like it was the beginning days of YouTube. And we were, we had enough funding to put out DVDs and stuff. And we're just like, well, Bam Margera, like he made all these idiot videos with his friends. And then there was like a soundtrack to go along with it. We were a band as well. So like that was the whole idea. But you can only be, what did they say in Animal House? He's like, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, Blutowski, and So yeah, when I got sober, it just changed everything. I was just like, all right, well, I just want to do the music now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's reasonable. It's all a part of growth.
Yeah.
You're growing, Neil.
Yeah, still, man. Because you would think cutting out that destructive behavior would be like the end of the destruction. But what's weird is like when you get sober, you find different ways to ruin your life.
Well, and I mean, especially with you, I mean, you have a very addictive personality. If it's not going to be this one thing, something's got to replace it.
Yeah.
And so the best thing that you can do is replace it with something as healthy as possible.
Yeah, and also just be aware that I was replacing it, and you know, whether it was the affection of a significant other or, you know, validation from the internet, I just have to know that whatever feels good, I'm going to want all of it, and I'm going to want as much of it as possible, and I'm going to want it all at once, and I like inject it into my eyeball, you know?
Need that fix.
Yeah, but what's nice about now is it's different. Things are different, you know?
I feel like as much as I've grown in the, you know, kind of being able to compliment myself in my own progress and being able to recognize what I've managed to achieve, you know, at my own pace and whatnot. I'm still going to, without outside validation, I mean, specifically like someone who knows the details about what I'm doing, validating me in doing that. Without that, imposter syndrome hits hard.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, even my day job, right? Like I'm a programmer. I'm a self-taught programmer. I don't have a degree. I never went to school for this. Like this is stuff that I just kind of taught myself how to do when I was a kid. And it became my career. And there's just always something in my brain that like, if someone I don't respect, like I don't want someone that I do respect looking at the code that I'm writing, because I'm just going to wince. Like it's like someone reading my diary or something,
right?
You know? Like it's, ugh. And when they do, and they compliment me on like the way that I did something or whatever, that helps with the imposter syndrome.
Of course.
Because I have it deeply ingrained in my brain that like, all right, you don't have a piece of paper that says that you can do this, so who's to say that you should?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But
so
but also
that's a real rough one.
Yeah, but also this is the thing, is if you couldn't do it, would you have gotten hired to do it, is my question. You're doing it.
Yeah, there's that.
You're fucking doing it, bro.
And have been doing it at the same place for like 6.5 years, almost 7 years now.
So you need to, and this is me telling you something that I need to tell myself. You need to tell yourself to quit it. Because if you've been doing it this long, you're obviously not fucking it up. Right?
It's true. It's true.
There you go.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it's the same thing with like playing music. People still ask me to play music with them. So I guess I must be doing something right.
Well, and if anything, getting a gig that is as labor intensive as far as the learning as playing intricate video game covers, I mean, they must have confidence in your ability as a bass player if they're like, okay, you have to learn this whole repertoire of songs that have already been composed.
Yeah.
That's a workload, and they wouldn't give that to you if they didn't think you were capable.
Honestly, video game music, learning these songs has been some of the most challenging music I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
None of that shit was written with an instrument in mind. Like they
That's
never,
true.
no one wrote the Mega Man 2 soundtrack and went, all right, so I'm going to write this bass line, but I'm going to make sure that it's something that's feasibly played on a tangible instrument.
No.
That shit's all sequenced out. They were working within different limitations, like technological limitations, and just trying to figure out how they could eke out the, a loop that didn't get boring, that fit in memory, that only contained what I think it was 3 tracks, like 2 square wave tracks, 1 triangle track, and a noise track and a sample track. I think is all that they had available to them for composing on those.
Wow.
It's like they're thinking about those limitations and sequencing out. They're not thinking about, oh, what if someone wants to play this on live on an instrument?
Yeah, like is a bass player in 2022's fingers going to be able to reach from this note to that note in this timbre? Yeah, they're just working within the confines of some sort of technological shit I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And you explained it in a way where I'm just like, I know nothing about this. That's fucking crazy.
But honestly, they're some of the most intricate and rewarding songs that I've ever learned how to play.
Yeah, and back to the imposter thing. Like, you wouldn't be in this band if you weren't capable. Just saying.
You're not wrong.
If there's any worth to what I'm about to say, I think you're doing great, man. And I've known you for a long time. So, and I'm proud. And I'm proud of you.
I think we're both doing great.
Look at us go. Whee! I just have to. Yeah. What's up? I just have to get this imaging done. Hopefully when I do this tour, because I'm going on a tour in a week, and we're just doing 10 days, but hopefully the tour doesn't break my back so I can figure out what's wrong with my back when I get back from tour and fix it.
You're just doing East Coast on this run, right?
Yeah, just 10 dates. Yeah. So here, while I got you here, what made you want to change your last name?
So, my wife Jasmine and I got married a year ago tomorrow.
Oh wow! Happy anniversary! Holy shit!
Thanks. Yeah. 6'9", to make it easy.
69, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Jasmine said that she didn't want to take Schremp as a last name. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't really have that much connection to that last name anyway. It's my dad's last name. My dad and I had a complicated relationship at best. I would say that we were more like friends than family. Like, we nerded out over the same things, but he was not a dad.
Right.
And the rest of that side of the family, I never saw. Like, I remember them kinda when I was a young kid, like seeing them or spending time with them in brief spurts, but like they have not been as present as my mom's side of the family. And my mom's maiden name is Curtis. And like that's the family that that's been there for me always, and has been, just instrumental in who I became in growing up, and in supporting me and things like that. Like, it's all come from the Curtis side. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that it took me this long to make that decision, right? To be like, well, Schremp doesn't really mean a lot to me. Curtis does. So, my dad passed in 2017. And it was either 2017 or 2018. I can't remember. And yeah, I guess, the only reason that I wouldn't before he passed is like I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not anything I really thought too much about until we got married.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
It's just something I never asked you about.
Yeah. No longer Shrimp Dog. Can't call me Shrimp Dog anymore.
Yeah, because when you were on tour with us, you were the Shrimp Dog. And
Yep.
now you're the artist formerly known as Shrimp Dog.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense. It would be funny if I took my mother's maiden name because it's Noka, spelled Nowka, which is I didn't. Her mother and dad, I think I don't even. Yeah, Noka. What sort of a name is Noka?
Neil Noka.
Neil Noka. Oh, that I don't know.
The alliteration, man.
Yeah, Neil Noka. I don't know.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Neil Noka.
Neil Noka with your morning news. I don't know. I've been Neil Patterson for so long, but it's strange.
Neil P.
It's strange because, like you were saying about your dad's side of the family, like once my dad passed, I have no relationship with those people. In fact, in a moment where I lacked self-control, when I found out that my dad was being resuscitated down in Tennessee, where he bought a house on a golf course, I took to Facebook. I was on tour and I was in Brooklyn, and I just went off. And I think that effectively alienated me from that side of the family. Also, I stopped going to that side of the family's get-togethers in 2014. And I remember it like it was yesterday. My father lamented in front of all of his brothers and sisters that I couldn't just smile normal in the photo that I gave him for Christmas that year. Yeah. No, because I was like, I always do this, Yeah. And my ex, she had a nice smile. She has a nice smile. Excuse me. They have a nice smile. And it was it was a cute photo. We were being ourselves. And then I photoshopped some garland around the outer rim of the photo and, edited the photo a little bit. It said happy holidays and printed it out, framed it, gave it to my dad. He took one look at it. He said, "You can't just smile normal, can you?" And like, it was like a record stopped. Like, cause it got real uncomfortable real quick. And I'm surrounded by all my aunts and uncles and my cousins. And I'm just like, fuck normal, And he couldn't let it go the entire time he was alive that his kid was a fucking weirdo. And it's just like, dude, we all were likable, my brother and my sister, and we all were very talented. My brother, my sister, and I, we were gifted, but we weren't like, my brother was the closest thing to like a pussy crushing fucking alpha, But I was I was just Neil. I was weird. I was expressive. I was emotional. I was artistic, And man, you want to talk about being punished for just being who you are? Just zero positive reinforcement for anything I did ever, unless it was when I joined the football team. And even then, he would just tell me how weak and worthless I was, which is like, wait, but I'm doing the thing you want me to be doing. Like I'm lifting the weights. I'm going to practice. I'm smashing the guys' heads, and it still wasn't enough. We didn't win enough games. I wasn't good enough.
It's the whole you're not a success unless you're specifically successful in the things that I have an interest in. Like it's that projection shit, and just fuck all of that.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever really got that out of my dad. I feel like
that's good. It sucks.
I feel like my dad definitely pushed for me to get into programming.
That's good.
Which I didn't, weirdly, right? So my mom's a professional musician. My dad was a bunch of shit. But he wanted to make me a computer programmer. So when I was 10, like he gave me a programming book, and I was just like, whatever, and didn't take to it. Similarly, my mom, when I was very young, wanted to get me into music. When I was like 3, my mom was trying to get me into music because she started playing violin when she was 3. So she's like, this is where it happens. This is when it happens. And it didn't take for me then either. Like, I was like, no, not for me. Not going to happen. Now what am I? A programmer and a musician.
So what were you into when they were trying to push these things on you?
Fuck, man. When my mom was trying to push music on me, I was like just into wrestling and popples, man. Like fucking, I don't know. Like, I didn't find my music sense until, I don't know, I was probably like 10 or 11. I didn't even know what a bass guitar was until I was like 10.
Right.
And the only reason that I did is because of, I had just moved in with my dad after having spent, my life up to that point living with my mom. And I made a friend in middle school who played guitar and had been playing guitar since he was very young. And he needed a bass player. And so I taught myself how to play bass on his dad's Les Paul.
Cool.
So, and then my dad got me a PVT-20 for my birthday and been a bass player ever since.
That's cool. That has to be one of the hardest things about being a parent is how do you not try to mold the child in your image? You know what I mean? Like, because it has to be instinctual. How do you like give a child a choice as opposed to be like, you need to do this, you need to do that? Because being a parent and attempting to be a good one or actually succeeding at being a good one has to be one of the most challenging tasks that exists. It just seems like it's so perilous, and it seems like there's so many things you could do wrong that would have lasting ramifications in a child's life. It's just, and that's why I try to approach my dad and my mom in a way where I'm a little bit more forgiving these days. Like, I was abused by my dad, but also my dad came from a toxic masculinity era where men didn't cry, men didn't talk about their emotions, men didn't open up, men didn't go to therapy, men were tough, men were providers, men did what they had to do, and you can't show anyone you're weak. And I just think he was a product of that. And it's sad. It's more sad than it is a wrongdoing is the way I view it these days. I'm more like feel very sorry for the guy, I don't know.
It's I fortunately definitely never got any of that. Like, I have always been like super sensitive and encouraged to be I don't know, true to my emotions by my parents. So I was really fortunate in that. But I mean, both of them had art around them their entire lives. So, like the whole reason that my parents met is because my dad was like the guy that you went to see and hang out with in the Florida Keys when you were a band coming through the Florida Keys.
Okay.
He in that he dealt drugs.
Oh,
so
the guy. He was the guy.
He was the guy.
So you're like, your relationship with your dad could be similar to like the Anthony Kiedis and his dad thing, because Anthony Kiedis' dad was the guy in Hollywood. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but yeah, probably.
Well, and that's that kind of instilled an addiction in young Anthony Kiedis, because at a very early age, and don't ask me how I know all this. I didn't read his book, in 2004, because I did. But
I don't know, man. You wrote a whole album about California, so I think that you were probably reading a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers and taking a tone from the amount of California songs that they have.
Yeah, potentially. But I'm not gonna lie, like I'm a fan of that band. I know it's not cool to like that band. I don't really like their new album that much. I thought I would really like it, but
I was hopeful. I'm always hopeful.
Yeah.
But they're never going to, as in my eyes, they're never going to reach the heights of Blood Sugar Sex Magic ever again.
Yeah.
That was a blip in time, and it was a perfect blip in time that is just one of the most perfect albums from beginning to end.
It was the right time as well, because like if you listen to it now, it came at a time where that was the right time. 1991 was the right time for that album. 1991 was the right time for the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion double album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if that shit came out now, it just wouldn't hit as hard. It wouldn't be the same. And
yep.
And that was the time, you know, Terminator 2, 91. That was the time.
But even One Hot Minute had an energy that they lost, you know, once it got into like the Scar Tissue days and stuff like that. Like I just never got into that.
I like that album. I like Stadium Arcadium a lot. Me and Jama, we really enjoyed that. But I can't. The new album, I put it on. I'm like, please hit me like Stadium Arcadium, because Stadium Arcadium, there's a lot of songs that hit you immediately. Like if you hear the intro riff to Snow, or you hear the intro guitar to Tell Me Baby, and you're immediately just like, oh, here it comes. Like and when it hits you, it really hits. In my opinion, those songs, those singles really hit.
I can appreciate the musicianship, but it's not it's not the style of music that I have historically gone to Red Hot Chili Peppers for. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to stay open-minded about that kind of thing. And it's not that I don't like, you know, that kind of lighter tone sort of stuff or whatever. It's just not what I've typically gone to them for. And I've got better places to get that kind of mood.
You want Sir Psycho Sexy all the time.
Oh God, no.
That's some cringe, dude. The best
I
is...
said, what's up? Now suck my dick.
Yeah. There's an interview with Frusciante in the Funky Monks documentary, which is the making of Blood Sugar at that mansion. Did you ever see the documentary? Yeah. You can watch it on YouTube. It's called Funky Monks.
I don't know if I saw that documentary, but I did see the making of Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
That's what it is. That's the documentary. It's called Funky Monks, but it's the making. Rick Rubin, the whole gang is there, and it just follows them around that mansion that they rented in the Hollywood Hills while they're famous mansion. I think Led Zeppelin or Beatles recorded there or some shit. It's supposedly haunted, but there's a whole point where Frusciante is explaining his job as the guitarist for the song Stir Psycho Sexy. And in so many words, I gotta pull it up. He explains pretty much that if his guitar doesn't get Anthony laid, that he didn't do his job. But the way he explains it, you know, because he's a pretty deep guy. So it was like the way he explained it, it was just this roundabout, like long explanation about how if Anthony doesn't fuck, then I haven't done my job on this song. And it's like, in retrospect, it's all pretty hilarious.
Yeah. But
there's a demon in my semen. There's a devil.
And the devil's got me bleeding.
There's a devil in my dick. There's some demon in my semen.
There's some demon in my semen. That's right.
Yeah. And then he goes, at one point, and I talked about this on another podcast. At one point, Anthony Kiedis goes, "Big creamy beaver, hotter than a fever."
Hotter than a fever.
Amazing. It doesn't get any better than that. I love it.
And also a licorice whip go snap, snap.
Yeah. Licorice whip go snap, snap. Yeah. And in the Funky Monks documentary, there's also an outtake of Anthony Kiedis singing "Sold to Squeeze," because that was the same recording sessions. "Sold to Squeeze" was like a B-side that they released on the Conehead soundtrack in 94, 92,
something like
93. I don't know. Coneheads. I remember the video very vividly. But he's singing "Soul to Squeeze," but he's doing this like dip where he's like out of tune, and then it resolves to the actual note he's trying to hit. It's really bad. Yeah. And yeah. But Funky Monks, it's a great watch. Classic.
I'll have to rewatch it. I know that I must have seen it at some point. I'll just have to rewatch it.
Classic album, great documentary. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing funky music if it wasn't for the Chili Peppers in the early 90s. Like, I wouldn't have gotten into George Clinton and the Shaft soundtrack and Isaac Hayes and Curtis Mayfield and Prince if it weren't for the Chili Peppers. Chili Peppers were the bridge to actual like legit funk that you know what I mean? Like, and
It was the same thing for me.
yeah, just
Exact same for me.
Just like Sublime, I think was the bridge for so many suburban white kids to get into stuff like Peter Tosh, Bob Marley, you know?
Yeah.
And
then get dreads.
yeah, and then have some guy comment on them on TikTok and get yelled at.
Why you got to be so rude?
Oh, those guys, those Canadians. Yeah, yeah, and I had a long discussion with a guy that is in that scene about the fake patois accent and how cringe it is. But I will tell you, and I don't know if you saw my TikTok on this, Chet Hanks, who's Tom Hanks' son, he did a whole patois thing. And I went on the video, and as cringy as I thought the video was, there was a fucking gang of Jamaican people in the comments that are like, yo, his accent is on point. Let this guy enjoy our culture. Anyone who's pissed off about this can fuck off. And so at this point, I'm just confused about the whole thing. I don't have because my stance was if you're from Baltimore, Maryland, don't use a fake patois accent in your reggae music. You know, that was my stance when I made the TikTok. Then the TikTok, I don't know, it got like pretty widely viewed, and people told me, look up Chet Hanks. I looked it up, and it's a bunch of Jamaican people are like, yo, Chet Hanks is the real deal. And now I'm just confused. So I don't know what to say.
I question the judgment of literally anyone who says Chet Hanks is the real deal. I don't care the context. I don't care the context. I question your judgment if you're going to say Chet Hanks is the real deal, because I've seen a lot of his shit, and it's not just the patois. It's not just that. It's so much stupid nonsense. That it's fine. Enjoy the culture. Sure. Fine, dude. But like, you're the son of probably the most beloved actor of our time. Like, you have no reason to code switch, dude. Like, that's not something that you should be doing. I feel like it, I don't know, man. And it's like, I could understand if you were brought up around that culture,
right,
and, you know, like, that's something totally different. But to be someone so far removed from even just like the average American's culture.
Yeah.
In your upbringing, like, I don't get it, man.
I don't get it either. But yeah, after reading those comments, I'm just like, okay. And then there was like that same week I put out that TikTok and everyone was arguing with me about whether or not he can do the patois. There was like 4 mass shootings, and it just got to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like, why am I arguing with people on the internet about Chet Hanks or about Ross Trent, which is a joke song that people thought I was actually referencing as an actual white boy reggae song, The Lonely Island. So, people are like, you know, this is a joke song, right? And I just put it in there to give an example of how ridiculous the whole thing is. But anyway, there comes a point where you have a hot take, and then you get to the point where you don't even know if you adhere to that anymore because so many people are telling you contrarian things and yelling at you online. It just kind of makes your brain bleed a little bit. And then there's like 4 mass shootings that same week. At a point, you're just like, you know what? I don't want to stand on a soapbox and talk about something so trivial anymore. I am moving on. And then, but what's funny about TikTok is there's like a trail off to the comment, you know, because people the algorithm feeds people these videos for sometimes weeks after you put them out. I still have people yelling at me for complaining about the snow 6 months ago, you know, on TikTok. And what's hilarious is these people are like, you Californians and you're liberals, and I'm like, I grew up here, man. Like, because I moved back to Michigan, and it started to snow, and I made a TikTok about it, and it was 9 seconds long, and next thing I know, It got 250,000 views, and a bunch of people are telling me how weak I am and how my liberal politics are going to ruin Michigan. And yeah, I grew up here 30 plus years, so leave me alone. But that's the internet.
There's a strong anti-Californian stance in Arizona as well,
and in Texas,
and a strong, but mostly because like I don't hear people complaining about them. Oh, their liberal agenda and this and that. What I hear is stop moving here.
Yeah,
just stop. Moving
exactly.
Here.
I got a lot of that.
Like Arizona is. Phoenix especially is seeing like the biggest boom of people moving to the metropolitan area. And so just in general, the sentiment seems to be stop moving here.
Yeah. And same with Austin. For some reason, everyone left California and went to Austin for some reason.
I thought that's where I was going to wind up when I left Madison.
Weird. That was before it got, I feel like it's mad overpopulated now. They need to expand those roads. Even back when the last time we played there was like 2018, and we got caught in so much traffic because there's just not enough lanes. There's too many people. There's not enough fucking lanes. Some of these roads that connect different parts of Austin go through these like winding hills. There's not enough lanes, dude.
Yeah. They're expanding faster than they can expand infrastructure.
Exactly.
And especially considering, I would imagine that a lot of their infrastructure budget is hinging on state budget. I have a feeling that Abbott is not going to be like, oh yeah, this liberal bastion of Texas, let's spend a bunch of resources on their infrastructure.
Yeah, it might be just a scab in their eyes,
Yeah,
this liberal scab. Well, Joe Rogan's gonna fix all that. Right?
Dr. Rogan.
It's true. But I just heard a loud bang. Are you okay? Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right.
Are you okay? Oh, I heard a loud bang. Yeah. Scaring the crap out of me. Oh! Heard a loud bang, bro. A big bang baby, like Stone Temple Pilots.
It's a bash, bash, bash.
Crash,
What
crash, crash, I think.
Crash, crash, crash.
Back to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, in 1999, I saw Stone Temple Pilots and Red Hot Chili Peppers on the same bill. And you want to know who opened? This is crazy.
Oh.
Fucking Fishbone opened.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I didn't even know. I didn't get there early enough. We got there late, so I just saw the end of STP, and then it was Californication era Chili Peppers because it was the summer of 99 going into 2000. Fucking Fishbone.
Because Fishbone and Red Hot Chili Peppers were super tight, weren't they?
Yeah, there's a long history.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and yeah, Fishbone is arguably the band that should have been as big as the Chili Peppers, as big as Primus, as big as No Doubt.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, they just didn't look the way they should have looked, in the eyes of the industry. The industry didn't know how to package them. And
also, I mean, at the same time, I don't think the industry, like when they were doing, I mean, their most recognizable biggest hit is Party at Ground Zero.
Yep.
And
that was from their first EP, so that was the early 80s.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like no one in the US knew how to market ska in the 80s.
Nope.
If Party at Ground Zero came out in 93, then Fishbone would be as big as Real Big Fish.
And what's wild is that's like when Fishbone started to decline a little bit, is like right when that third wave of ska hit really hard. Fishbone was kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think that their trajectory was like 10 years too early.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see how they charted in the UK at the same time, because that shit was going over way better in the UK than it was here.
Oh, I'm sure when they toured Europe, I mean, there's a in the early 90s, there's footage of them playing in Tokyo, and they were like almost playing an arena. It was huge.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tokyo, I mean, Japan in general has a huge punk and ska culture. Like, you know, and it's weird. Literally every other country, it seems, is more into like punk and ska than the United States.
Yeah, it's weird. Same thing with like a lot of like metal music is embraced way more in Europe. Yeah, it's weird.
Yep. Yeah.
It's weird.
Because like NoFX, they go on tour in the United States and they're probably going to play, you know, 1,000 cap, 2,000 cap venues.
Yep.
And when they go overseas, and I mean, specifically Japan, they are playing literal arenas.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what's funny too is you mentioned NoFX, because I just talked to John from Fishbone. They're actually doing Fishbone is doing an EP with Fat Mike right now, currently.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool because when we first met those guys, they were definitely, their management and all the bands they were working with were all these like SoCal reggae bands. And to me, there's like reggae elements to Fishbone, but the whole spirit of the band is very punk. And the fact that like they're working with a punk rock label and they're going to do something with Fat Mike, it's just, I think they're where they need to be at the ripe old age of what? They've been doing it for 40 fucking years. I think, when did they start? In 78? How many fucking years is that? It's a long time.
That's more than 40.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so it's good. I talked to John about it. I haven't talked to Norwood about it. I need to give that dude a call, but yeah, they're doing something with Fat Mike. I mean, that would be like a dream of mine, you know?
Yeah, that would be pretty rad.
Yeah, but because he can.
And now, I mean, now you saw that he's doing a podcast.
Oh yeah, I've been following ever since. You know what's funny is his co-host Sam. Have you ever seen his podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam's the dude from Get Dead. We actually stayed at his house right before the pandemic happened. And,
oh, right on.
Yeah, and it was weird because I didn't know that he was like on Fat Records. He actually like bought our vinyl. He was really nice, and we stayed with him, and I think it's his ex-girlfriend, and they have a really nice dog. And this was in San Jose. It was north of the Bay, or was it San Jose? I don't fucking remember. But we were on tour at Guttermouth, and he just put us up. He didn't even see our band play. He just put us up. And the weirdest part about it is it was like right before the pandemic hit, so I was like super sketched out. And and I was like, oh, the world is gonna end. We were like, we didn't know if the next show was gonna happen on that run.
Oh shit, that's right. I remember. I've totally forgot that you were on the road with Guttermouth when that happened.
Yeah, I remember Mark from Guttermouth came up to me, and he's like, "We're in big trouble, dude." And what's crazy is Mark from Guttermouth doesn't give a shit about anything, seemingly.
Yeah.
You know, his whole stage persona is like, you know, I'm trying to be the most offensive dude on the planet, and I don't give a fuck about anyone's personal space or anyone's beliefs. Like, I am here to shit on everybody. And so like I've been watching this guy since the 90s. Like one of the first punk shows I ever went to was in 96 at the Shelter in Detroit, and it was Assorted Jelly Beans and Guttermouth. I'll never forget it. Our parents dropped us off there. We didn't have driver's licenses, and that dude was like a hero to me. And then flash forward to 2020, I'm on tour with Guttermouth, and he comes up to me and he's like whispers in my ear. He's like, "We're in big fucking trouble, dude." And I'm just like, if this dude is scared, then I'm fucking terrified.
Right.
You know, dude.
And I guess, so that probably would have been around the time that like basketball was cutting their seasons, right? Or, you know,
exactly.
And I think to me,
Disney
that's
World.
when I realized that it was serious, was when sports were like, nope, we're cutting things short, or we're delaying, or we're just stop. Like this season is not going to happen, you know, kind of shit. Because that doesn't happen.
You don't cancel sports, bro. And that's when I knew we were in deep shit, because we were in Santa Rosa, or we were somewhere north of San Francisco, and we were playing this brewery, and yeah, they fucking closed Disneyland. They canceled Coachella, and then they canceled all sports on like the same day. And I remember going up to Guttermouth's dressing room and just being like, yo, this is fucked. They canceled sports. And everyone's just sitting there like it was, I was fucking terrified. I thought it was going to be like Captain Trips in The Stand, Stephen King's novel about the end of the world, like the super flu that takes out 99% of all humans. It only took out 1% of all humans, but still, it's a lot of humans.
That's still, I mean, there's a lot of humans. 1% of, over 7 billion is a lot of fucking people.
Yeah. But, and it's still kind of happening. It's just people have just gotten back to doing.
People have gotten tired of it. People have gotten bored with it.
Yeah. And now the news cycle has, first the news cycle had Ukraine. Now it's like Matthew McConaughey talking at the White House about gun control. What a weird timeline, man.
Seriously, dude. I never would have thought that Russia would invade Ukraine. I never would have thought that we would see like a real war for Ukraine already has basically lost everything with the amount of damage that they've sustained. Like coming back, I didn't think that wars like that happened anymore.
Well, unless we're perpetuating them. But.
Well, I mean, but even still, in the war in Afghanistan, Afghanistan is barely a country, and I don't say that to be offensive or anything. It doesn't have, from my understanding, it's not even very organized politically or anything like that. So it's even worse that we spent as much time as we did over there. We certainly didn't help in as far as the stabilization of the region was concerned, but it was also unstable in general as well.
Yeah.
And so and maybe this is just me being naive, but I don't think we've entered into we've definitely entered into some unjust wars that don't make any fucking sense, that had ulterior motives and everything like that. But we have not fucked shit up in the same way that Russia just YOLO'd their way into Ukraine.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know enough about either situation to really have an educated comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Because
oh yeah, and I certainly the comment that I just made, not educated in any way whatsoever.
Because all of my very, very far left activist friends are pretty much well, we've been doing this to other countries for fucking ever. So you're a hypocrite if you think that what's Russia's doing to Ukraine is bad. I mean, and then again, I don't know what to say. Are we just as bad as Russia is the question? And I don't fucking know, because I have a lot of friends that would say yes, and then you have a lot of people that would argue no. And I'm just a dude in a band, and it's hard for me to comment on this shit. I don't know enough about it. And it's so to sift through the news cycle and be like, this is truth and this is bullshit. It's so hard these days. I honestly, I just live in this little world where I make candles and make silly songs on my looper, and I just want to go on tour. And I talked to my therapist about it. I'm like, is this selfish? Is this selfish that my brain can't handle all of the terror and the outrage and the depressive events that are folding out in real time? Is it selfish for me to concentrate on my little bubble? And according to her, she says no. It's and
I would agree, absolutely not. I think that to dwell too much on things that are so beyond your control, especially to the point where your own personal life is slipping as a result, is all you're going to do is ruin your life. You're just driving yourself insane. You're not achieving anything by ruining your own life, worrying about things that you have no control over.
Yeah, and I'm relatively aware of the evils that are occurring. Like I see shit floating around, and I'm friends with people that are very vocal about it. But I also have friends that it consumes them, and their entire life is about exposing the unjust and the evils of the world to the point where it gets to the point where they're permanently outraged and they're permanently angry and like, and I agree with that. There needs to be, in order for things to change, there needs to be people that are angry and pissed and ready to boots on the ground. But are like, does being so pissed off all the time and being so outraged are you going to have the energy to actually be productive in making any sort of real change if you're just in this constant state of like, I don't know, I can't handle it. I'm too sensitive. I get fucking burnout really quickly. Like fuck, man, in the pandemic when the news cycle was just nothing but outrage. And all we had was these little portals and these computers for so long. Just, that was our window into the world. It fucked me up. I'm like, what's the point of this world? There's no point. What's the point of my life? There's no point. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even, like, the relationship that was right in front of me and the life that I had built with this person, like, all that stopped mattering. Like, the negativity seeped, like, into the very depths of my being to the point where I'm just like, well, none of this matters. Everything's fucked. It's hopeless. There's no point. And I just don't want to go back there. And so it's weird. It's
a dark place.
It's weird. But, but I feel bad because it's like, I should be outspoken and I should be as pissed as all these people that are pissed all the time. It's like, I'm tired, man.
I think that it's too much all at once. And if you don't give yourself a break or allow yourself to, think about other things and, work on other things, then, you're just going to do so much damage to yourself because it really is just too much. It's way too much.
It's a lot. And I think ultimately, and you and I have talked about this recently, is I want to create and perform and do things that are a bastion of distraction, just for a brief moment in time. Like if someone can watch like me do a stream or watch one of my stupid videos or watch one of my TikToks and it's one of the sillier ones where I'm just trying to entertain people. And if they can get a laugh out of it, or if they can just like, if that could take them away from the horror that is like existence in 2022 on Earth, then that's my contribution. And I have to be okay with that's my contribution because I've already chosen that's my contribution. I can't post 1,000 political memes. And I can't just like hang out in message boards and I can't just like keep refreshing the Twitter news cycle. I can't just join the outrage mob. I just have to work on myself, be good, and put positive, fun energy into the world. And that's it. That's what
and in putting that out there, like, when we talked about this, in putting that out there, you're giving people permission to laugh, to breathe, to take a second to, just like not be completely consumed by every single thing that's wrong, right now. It's some people, like also in putting that content out there, you never know when it's hitting someone in just the right way. It hit someone at just the right time. And it's just what they needed in that moment. And I think that that's an important thing to put out there. Like, I think it's important to have a safe place to give people permission to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, and not to stroke my own balls, but here, the fact that you brought this up, I got a message from a guy on TikTok today, and he says, I just want to thank you, Neil, your content, and you just opening up and talking about experiences you've had in your life have really helped me as of late. My mental health has been complete shit, and just the little chuckles I get from you really make a fucking difference. Can't wait to meet you in person, hopefully on the 16th. Much love. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
And this isn't like something that I'm seeking, you know, because I like I said about that validation, it's to the point where I'm just like having fun making stupid videos. And what's cool is the TikTok platform is actually, it's getting out to more people than my Instagram, my YouTube, MySpace, my Facebook ever did. But also it's not as important to me to get that feedback. So when I get something like this and it's genuine, and I know that I consider that what I'm doing is a way, A, for me to stay sane, and B, it's a way for me to try to entertain people that might be going through it. To get a message like this, it is validating. But ultimately, we don't need this to keep going and keep doing what we do. We need to give that to ourselves. And that was the biggest breakthrough in therapy, was that you have to be your own father, and you have to be that own loving source of validation. And we did it all through exercises of meditation exercises, where essentially I'm hanging out with the younger version of myself, and I'm like petting the little fat boy that is young me on the head and being like, you're good. You're good, and I love you. It's weird.
I think, to that point, you have been that person who just messaged you
all the time.
Yeah. So I think, even in a way, like, that brings it the whole full circle. You understand exactly what caused them to send that message, because you know what that feeling is. And in a way, it is you validating yourself, because you can imagine, you've been there, that.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, if that would be like me sending a message to Andrew WK, or that would be like me sending a message to Prince if he was still alive, just saying like, hey, what you do like brings me out of the hell that is existence. And not to say I'm like, what I'm doing is some profound shit. I don't want to put value on what I do anymore. I just want to be a human being that does shit, but yeah, if I can, instead of just joining the outrage mob and letting it fuel just the darkest parts of me, which is just anger and fucking hatred and resentment towards the government and resentment towards the systematic, the way everything was set up and pretty much how unfair the world is. I don't want to join that mob. I want to be the guy that gets messages where like, hey, I have mental problems, and you being open and being a silly weirdo helps me. That's the role. That's the role, dude. That's it. I want to be that guy. And the fact that I kind of am a little bit to some people, it's
important. It's good. It's good, important work. I think.
I don't make any money doing this shit. I'm a candle washer, and I'm a caterer, and sometimes I make money with music. Sometimes.
But
it's okay.
Occasionally.
It's okay.
Yeah, dude. I like what you do. I like who you are. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept you in my life for the past fucking 11 years.
Well, I like what you do, and I like who you are, man. I'm glad we could do this, because we've been talking about this for some time, and I like it when it's an organic conversation that just kind of goes places, and we touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of important stuff. Though something that I've noticed through the pandemic, and partially even more so lately, because I recently got medicated for ADHD, is that I feel like I've lost my eloquence. I feel like because I am encountering and interacting with fewer people on a day-to-day basis, I feel like in a lot of ways I have forgotten how to express myself succinctly, or like I feel too frequently like words are just getting caught. And I think part of that is like being at home, and not interacting with as many people. And part of it also is like I'm on stimulants now. And so it's, I'm in my own head too much.
But the thing is as much as you're not going to notice this because you're only in your head, but everyone, including myself right now, and doing these Zoom calls with the human beings that I talk to doing this podcast, I'm constantly feel like I'm talking too much. Okay, and what am I going to talk about next? And did I just like overstep? Did I say something that made this person uncomfortable? Did I not let this person talk enough? And I've been working on it. In fact, I've been working on listening a whole lot. But it's tough, especially with the medium, which is these Zoom calls. It's tough to get a real organic back and forth where you can kind of like feel when you're in a room with someone, all right, it's my turn to talk. But then again, I can tell you from experience, I recently took some Adderall and did a podcast, and it might not chemically, it might not affect my brain the way it affects your brain, because it just makes me a speedy, sweaty mess. But like, I understand to be in your head, and this shit's tough. Communicating with humans is tough. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
The people, this shit comes to people pretty naturally, but what I've come to realize in watching some of my older episodes and stuff is I really, I have to listen, And what I've been doing lately is asking kind of an open-ended question and then just like flipping the camera to the guest and just letting them go. I did that. I've been talking a little too much on this episode, I think, but yeah. But ultimately, we're all in our own heads, and we're all second guessing ourselves, and we're all giving ourselves too much of a hard time. And when I talk to people like you, I recognize this, And when I talk, and I think you have to be like off to not be a little awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
the people who are super confident and super. I don't know. I don't know too many people like that. I think most of the people I'm friends with, we're all like, am I okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Feeling, it took me a long time in my life in general to not apologize all the time.
That's something my mom does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that like I kicked, probably in my 20s, but like I used to be like basically apologizing for who I was on a regular basis because I was so in my head on that, like, oh God, I don't know. Is this, are we playing by the same rules in this conversation? Did I not get the rule book? Oh my God. Hi, my name is Ryan.
What do you think causes that? Is it just the internal monologue, or is it insecurity? Like, what do you think the source of that is?
I think it's crippling self-awareness.
Okay.
Too much self-visibility. You are far too aware in all of your behaviors, and you, to the point where you nitpick them, and so all these little things that like, or maybe you don't notice in other people, but you notice them in yourself, regardless of whether someone else notices them in you. And so when you're interacting with people, you're busy noticing all of these things that people probably aren't. And so you feel like, oh, I'm sorry, I know this is probably a little annoying. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a tendency to do this or that or whatever. And it's like, if you hadn't apologized or hadn't, said it outright or addressed it outright, no one would have thought twice about it.
I've just kind of gotten to the point where I'm at peace with the fact that, sometimes I'm just, me being me, sometimes I'm just loud and domineering and I talk too much and I repeat the same stories. I think if anything, my current relationship has brought to light so many of my tendencies, because she'll poke fun at me for them. She'll be like, yeah, I heard the story before. Yep. And then
dude, you and me both, especially on that one.
And then this happened. And then this happened. I'm like, I only have fucking 7 stories. I don't know. Like, I just fucking sift through them and repeat them. And there's always like a trigger, conversation that triggers one of the stories. And like, Allie's quick. She's like, oh, and then this happened, huh? You're going to tell me about the time you got yelled at by this ex-girlfriend and yada, yada. And it's just, I'm like a Teddy Ruxpin or a fucking Tickle Me Elmo. I'd say the same fucking 8 things over and over again. So,
have you had the oh yeah, this movie? No, I definitely didn't watch this movie with you. I definitely have never seen this movie. No, we watched this movie together like last year. No, I definitely have never seen this movie before.
That's happened.
Like, yeah. That one, that happens with me and Jasmine all the time.
What happens with me a lot of the time is as soon as a movie comes on, I pass out because the caffeine wears off. And if I'm not, like, I stayed up and watched the Batman movie, like, because I was invested, Yeah. And like, if we're watching Better Call Saul, I'm invested. But if it's something like that I'm not thoroughly invested in, I'll just pass right out. And so what ends up happening is Allie watches stuff after I fall asleep. And then that's where the questioning, like, did we watch this? And usually it's just like, yeah, we watched it, but you fell asleep 20 minutes into it. So that's the thing. Tired old man.
Yep.
But
I know the feel.
But I'm still doing the thing. We're still doing the thing. Okay, so I told you that I was doing more succinct podcasts, but we're approaching 2 hours. But I'm glad we did this, man, because I miss hanging out with you, and that's something that you have to really be in a band or have traveled with a band to understand what's the word I'm looking for? When you travel with someone, not the familiarity, but the intimacy of traveling in a van across the country with someone, and whether it's Nick Alley or yourself or Jama or any of the people that have played in the band, or anyone that has like tagged along with us as like a merch person, which you did for, was it a number of weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about a month.
Yeah, in 2015, right?
2014. Was
it 2014? And that was with Canadian John, right?
Yeah, that was with Canadian John, and that was Psychostick and Fun Gone Wrong.
Oh, you were on that tour?
Yeah.
So you were at the machine shop when that whole thing with Fun Gone Wrong happened?
I probably wasn't aware of it, but I think maybe someone walked in on someone, didn't they?
It was just, it was a sexual escapade.
That's what I thought.
We don't need to go. Yeah, we don't need to tell names of, but we were enjoying that sexual escapade, just the fact that it occurred and then we were at Matty J's garage and playing
dude.
Okay, so you were, and that's the thing, is when the intimacy of traveling with someone in such close quarters, it's like your family after that.
Yep.
Unless the person's a douchebag, then you're not family. But
yeah, I'm sure there's definitely certain instances, but like, especially, so it's
2
funny
people.
Because, Maddie made it a point to regularly, to tell people, it's like, man, when I first met Shrep Dog, like, we played in Madison, and I must have been drunk. Like, I vaguely remember doing this, but it was at the Frequency, and I was he let me wear the antlers. And then I like pulled down my pants and was just naked wearing only the antlers in the basement. And I can no longer remember the context of this interaction.
Oh, that doesn't seem that seems unlike you almost. Were you a dude that got naked back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
All of the time.
Never seen you naked.
I was the dude. So I was once emceeing a music festival at the High Noon in Madison, and it was regular for me to. I had just played, and especially while playing, I would usually end up in my underwear because bass players always get naked.
I think I remember that.
Sweaty,
but I don't remember full nudity. But go ahead.
And so I'm the MC for the night, and I'm, doing like announcing a raffle while the next band is getting set up behind me. And the next band is the Moguls. And my friend Kyle comes up behind me while I'm on stage announcing this raffle and yoinks down my underwear. So I'm just like dick in the wind on stage at this music festival. And I just kind of looked down, shrugged, pulled my pants back up, whatever. Because like everyone had seen me naked by then. Like that's definitely who I was.
Yeah, there's always a naked guy,
And so apparently that first interaction, Maddie was like, I fucking hate this dude. So he recognized me when I showed up on that first night in Ringel. And he was like, oh no, like this guy, man, and we're gonna have to be on the road with him for fucking, man, like he was bummed.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, so by like, I don't know, 3 nights in, I think he was like just absolutely loved me. He and I, like he, for the rest of the tour, anytime that he was talking to anyone about me, he'd tell the story about how I fucking made the worst first impression and how I'm like a brother to him, now. And so that I'm glad that first impression didn't like totally ruin the camaraderie of that tour.
Yeah. And Maddie repeats himself, at least with the Downtown Brown thing. He's got the Downtown Brown guarantee. He tells fans of Psycho Stick, he's like, if you watch Downtown Brown and you don't like their set, you can kick me in the balls. And then he told that to hundreds and hundreds of people. Never got kicked in the balls once.
Yeah.
So we did our job. God damn it.
But yeah, there is something very special about being on the road with a bunch of people that like it's a closeness and familiarity and camaraderie that like you do not experience otherwise. And I mean, I don't think you and I would be as close today as if I had not been with you on that tour.
No,
and like you and I were friends and we're close, but like we saw each other once a year. Like spending a month every single day with someone completely changes that dynamic.
Yeah, because you see the full version of who that person is. And I mean, and if it was 2014, I mean, you saw a version of me that was very like future oriented, very goal oriented, and was not very present in the moment. And I was salty, dude. Like, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was like, I wanted for our band to be more successful than we were. And I was like, I was just full of salt. And
I remember, man. And that went on through even fucking like once you moved out to California. Cause I remember you and I having that conversation about like, you not wanting, you were going to do the open mic at the comic book shop. Meltdown.
Okay.
And you didn't want to do it because you didn't want to like just be a comedy, artist or something, if I remember right. And you were like, but like it's good exposure, but like, do I want this? And like from 2014 through like 2016, 2017, you were stormy seas, man, when it came to like your creative outlets and trying to figure out like where you were going to be happiest in expressing yourself and how you were going to be happiest in expressing yourself.
Yeah, and it's too much of an inner dialogue when and even actually it's funny we bring up Psychostick because talking to Josh Key and having him on my podcast, he said and I have it on my door here. It's like just start doing something, and then next thing you know, you'll be finishing something, and you'll be starting the next thing. So, and my other mantra that I've been repeating to myself over and over again is do cool shit before you die. Make cool shit before you die, and that's where I'm at right now because instead of hyper analyzing like metrics and being on the road with a band that's more successful than my band, like Psychostick, and like being jealous of them. I mean, those are our bros, dude. Like,
right.
Like who the fuck cares? You know, like there's just the fact that I would be salty about supporting a bigger band. Like what do I want to be on tour like just Downtown Brown headlining, playing in front of fucking nobody? Like no, like I want to be on tour with Psychostick every night. Like you fucking get over it, Neil. It was just a lot of growing pains, man. And yeah, and ultimately I want to do it all. I don't want to just do one thing and just put all my eggs into like I'm a guy in a band basket. No, I would love to do open mic musical comedy. I would like to do stand-up comedy. I would like to host a fucking telethon. I would like to fucking be a voiceover artist. I want to do everything. I just don't know where I'm going to have the time to, you know, put the effort and work into cultivating all of these ideas, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be a guy that does a whole bunch of different shit and hopefully something sticks before I die. And if it doesn't, you know, at least I affected some people. I got a message today. That guy, I affected that dude. So, but yeah,
well,
when you were on that tour, you saw the salt, man. You felt the salt. You tasted the salt, dude.
I did. Yeah. And it really just made me love you more.
Really?
You know? Well, I mean, you know, I'm not going to pretend to know where, you know, where a lot of your, you know, inner struggles in the past are coming from or anything. But at the very least, like, I wanted to be there to be a sympathetic ear. And like, I remember.
That's nice. Thank you.
I remember, man, I can't remember what set it off, but there was one day on that tour where you were just in a pit, man. And it really just felt like you needed someone to talk to that wasn't in the band. And, you know, I was happy to be that for you on that run. And, you know, I don't know, it's, I see in you and what I've always seen in you is someone like extremely ambitious and well-intentioned and, gets in their own way a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's very observational.
And it gets really, really upset about it and then gets in their own way again. And so, you know, if I could be anything like an ear or, you know, even just a fucking sounding board, right, for you to bounce ideas off of or bounce thoughts off of. And if that helped at all, fucking, I was happy to be there.
Well, you have been like over the years. I mean, you like, and what's funny about that tour as well, you want to know, like, there's two people I call on the phone and have long conversations with, and one of them is you, and well, Ron, and then the other is fucking Canadian John, who was like, so like out of the whole crew. And then I just saw Bobbins the other day. It's like I have actual friends in this world. They're just all fucking over the place. One of them's in Ottawa, Ontario. One of them lives 40 minutes away. One of them is in LA. One of them is in Arizona, you know? But honestly, I can't think of too many more people that I actually keep in touch with, and there's a dialogue, besides my girlfriend and my mother.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I hate to say it. I'm closer to you and Jama and fucking Ron than I am with people that I'm fucking actually related to.
Well, I mean, that's bound to happen. You don't get to choose your relatives.
Yeah. It's a bummer, though, because, yeah, we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, no, but as far as if that was your intention to be a sympathetic person for me, well, you certainly did that. And I really, really, really appreciate it, man.
I mean, my original intent was like, this is just going to be fun. Yeah. And then, that was the first time I had ever gone on tour.
It was fun, but also, when you go on a tour, it's not just fun. It's work, and then there's these dreams involved, and then there's these expectations involved, and then you're dealing with people that have egos. You're dealing with people that have, they wanted certain things out of life. They want things to go their way, and there's immaturity involved. Like, musicians are fucking complicated people. So you're thrust in a moving cube on wheels with a bunch of different personalities, like vastly different personalities and egos, But go ahead with what you were saying.
Stuck in a cube for 6 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day of drive time, then there's nothing to do but come up with inside jokes that then end up spreading like a virus to everyone else who's on the tour package.
Yeah. That's the best part about being on tour, is when everyone starts speaking a language that no one understands except the people on tour. And even go ahead.
That's something that, like, my first experience of that was on that tour in 2014. And I didn't realize, the reason that I got asked to join the Minibosses was because they had been asked to play this show in Louisiana, and at a convention in Louisiana. And so we set up 2 local shows leading up to that, and, played those local shows. And this was all in the month of October of last year. So,
yeah.
First local show is second weekend of October. The next local show is the following weekend, and then the weekend after that we fly out to Louisiana. We were at this convention Thursday through Sunday or Thursday through Monday. I can't remember when we arrived and left or whatever, but just in that one gig, it felt like I had been on tour with these guys for a month. It was all the same shit, all the same camaraderie, all these, we instantly fell into that language.
Beautiful.
So it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And ultimately what it comes down to is you're experiencing something in real time with other people that 99% of the world will never understand.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's the stupidest shit too. So I could explain it. I can completely explain just one part of this joke, right? At the hotel, across the street from the hotel is a bar that was a local bar and restaurant, almost like a, I don't know what to compare it to, but I mean, just a local bar, restaurant, kind of thing. And we decided to go over there to get some beers and eat. And it's called O'Charlie's. And so the moment that I arrive and I look across the street and I see O'Charlie's, my brain just goes, O'Charlie's, like the O'Reilly's Auto Part jingle. And apparently I wasn't the only one, because as we were walking over there, another bandmate does the same thing, and that just became a joke for the entire fucking weekend. Was Charlie's. Not even all that funny, but fucking killed us.
Yeah, and you repeat it over and over
Yep.
and over. And it gets to the point where, and especially when you're involving another band that is in on the joke, it gets to the point where you don't communicate using actual words. You're just communicating with inside jokes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lovely thing. And comparatively, my relationship with my girlfriend is similar because we have a language where the way we talk to our cats and we're just constantly changing words to popular songs to be in our own weird vernacular that we've kind of created over the years. And it's mostly Allie because Allie's the genius. She comes up with all the weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's nice. I'm not part of any like marginalized community. I'm a white, cis het sort of almost guy. And but it's nice to sometimes feel a part of a very small club, which is, like the 9 dudes that we're on tour with.
Right.
No one knows what the fuck we're talking about but us. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's a camaraderie in it. And it's family.
The only way to understand it is to experience it.
Yeah, that's why I got all mad at that TikTok fucking dork that is like, you should just make content. Don't go on tour. You'll lose money. It's like, no, go on tour. Fucking get weird. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm glad you did it.
I'm glad I did it too, man. That was an experience that's going to stick with me forever. If I never go on tour again, I'll at least have had that one experience that was absolutely incredible. I hope that's not the only time I ever go on tour. Like, I'd love to take Minibosses on the road and actually like have us do a proper tour, but I don't know if the band has the energy anymore.
It's tough. We're not 22 anymore, but
yeah.
That being said, I'm about to turn into a pumpkin here. It's we've been going for 206, but I could talk to you forever, man. I love you, dude.
I love you too, dude.
Is there anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
Well, I've recently started, kind of following you on, you've had a lot of fun, making stuff for TikTok. So I've recently shifted a little bit of focus to TikTok. And I've started doing kind of a series of videos. I don't know if this is the only thing that I'm going to put on my TikTok or not, but called Name That Video Game Baseline, where I'll post 2 videos. One is me just playing the baseline alone. And then I'll the next day post a video with the answer, basically, like the baseline mixed in with the actual track.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I saw that. Also, the thing that's weird about TikTok is you'll just start doing a bunch of random shit. You know what I mean? Like it's good to have ideas in the beginning, but what you'll notice is you'll just start throwing hot takes up on there and talking. I at least what I've noticed, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then the videos that get the most engagement are just videos of me ranting for 9 seconds, which is weird, dude. Because I'm not trying. I'm not like, this is gonna hit. Like
realistically, it's the internet. If you express your opinion, a lot of people are going to have something to say about it.
It's weird, but I dig the video game cover stuff. I did think that's a good idea. So you got to follow from me, bro.
Yeah. So my TikTok is Blue Bassist. And I swear I'm going to get back to doing episodes of this podcast called Creepy Podsta, that where I narrate creepy stories. It's kind of fallen by the wayside, unfortunately, but just another one of those projects that you add to the list, and it's like, okay, I need to. All right, eventually the motivation needs to come back.
It's hard to do everything all the time,
But there's it being a podcast, there's a bunch of stories already up there for people to listen to if they want to listen to some creepy stories.
And what's the link to that?
Just Creepy Podsta. It's like creepy pasta, but it's pod, Pod, like podcast.
Is it you doing your best corpse bride impression? Or what's the guy? Corpse husband? Is that the guy?
Oh, corpse husband. Yeah. I started doing this before Corpse Husband. Thank you very much.
Do you have a really deep, gravelly voice?
No. I mean, it's me doing my voice acting, my storytelling voice, basically.
I got to check that out.
It's not me, reading stories like this down deep, in this tone. It's more casual than that. Like, as a voice actor, I specialize in natural casual reads.
Okay.
So I read the story. Usually when I'm recording, I read the story as I'm recording. So I don't pre-read. Like, I just hit record and start reading it out loud.
Okay.
So it's a natural, casual. And if I say something in a way that doesn't fit the context, then I'll, just re-record the line or something like that and then edit it. But yeah, it's just, I was the kid who was always picked by the teacher to read the section out loud in class. So it's basically me doing that, but to scary stories.
You were like popcorn champion of the classroom.
Yeah.
Did you ever play popcorn when you were?
Yes.
Yeah. Popcorn Ryan. And then you just read the whole fucking thing. I always felt bad for the kid when you'd say popcorn and it would land on some kid that wasn't a good public speaker, wasn't good at sight reading. And yeah. And then they caught shit for it. I always thought that was like popcorn just put people on blast. I'm not a fan.
A bit.
Yeah. But okay, cool. I want to check that out because you have a great voice for voiceover stuff.
Sometimes.
There is a dude named The Vile Eye that does a series on YouTube called Analyzing Evil. Have you ever heard their voice?
I have not, no.
Okay. It's interesting. I want to send you a video and see what your opinion is on it because I really enjoy the content, but Allie was like super put off by the guy's voice.
Okay.
It's a good voice though. It's just not everyone's cup of tea, I would think.
So there's some narrators and some YouTubers who do like the these creepy things kind of thing, where their voice is always kind of like this and they talk up and like this kind of thing where they're not, it's really kind of hard to tell where their inflection is and they're always talking up. And for some reason these channels have like tons of views, and the second the dude starts talking, I'm like, I can't. Mm-mm. I can't.
Yeah, I see YouTube shorts where they're getting hundreds of thousands of views and it's just someone playing the guitar very badly, but they're they're objectively attractive.
Yes.
And maybe scantily clad, so the person it's obvious why they're getting so many views. And yeah, and then I listen to the guitar and I'm like, but that's that's just the internet. You can't be mad at what people want to watch. They want to watch attractive people doing things, mediocrely, if that's even a word. Or yeah, they want to hear scary stories spoken by people who don't have great voices for it. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me, but back to the whole not joining the outrage club. I just can't be mad anymore. I'm not mad that Machine Gun Kelly exists. I don't care. I don't care.
You mean the inventor of pop punk?
Yeah, the purveyor, the innovator. That was Avril Lavigne, actually. She invented skateboarding.
No, Machine Gun Kelly taught Avril Lavigne everything that she knows.
Yeah, he got in a time machine and he taught a pop punk boot camp to Blink-182 in San Diego in the late 80s. Yeah, we had a joke. Me and my old roommate had a joke that Mike Ness of Social Distortion taught Robert Johnson the blues. He got in a Cadillac that was a time machine and went back into time to the crossroads and taught Robert Johnson everything he knew.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it was a funny inside joke we had for a while.
I can't stand Mike Ness at all.
Well, he invented the blues, so you should have some respect. And I think there's a Vandal song that makes fun of him for being like the blues guy.
That's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, let's end this. Ryan, Curtis.
Oh yeah, and also check out the Minibosses. It's this band that I play in.
There you go. And it's streaming on all streaming services, Minibosses? Or primarily on YouTube?
Minibosses.bandcamp.com. Yeah.
Minibosses.
You'll find the most Minibosses stuff on Bandcamp.
Links in the description. We will put them in the YouTube description. All right. Ryan, love you, man. Thanks for
having me.
Thank you for being on SUPcast. I
will talk to you for hours and hours anytime you want.
Yeah, we could go really long if we wanted to. We'll do it. We'll do it again.
All right. Love you, bud.
Love you, man. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Later, dude. Love you. More.
Love you. More.
See you, dude.
Hey, do you like this video? Do you want to see more stuff like it? Well, consider being a patron of my Patreon page, patreon.com/Neil P. If you pledge monthly, you get some perks, you get some exclusive content, and you get to help stuff like this get made on the monthly. Yo, check it out.